Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, hope you're all well. This video is going to be focused on the boss battles videos for this month's Uncollected. Also pick up some tips and tricks along the way of certain types of special attacks from when they are thrown and how to avoid them. Also look out for later on and as well tomorrow, because we're going to be covering the solo objectives and how to quickly do them, and as well obviously the fantastic invasions, and tomorrow the Doom invasions. But now let's go over the good, the bad and the ugly when it comes to this new event. Kicking things off is the Korg fight. As you can see, similar build with the, I think it's variant 3, yeah, especially if you've got the selective time stream. I don't think it's exactly the same, because I don't think by performing an Incinerate you helped out the situation by blocking the regeneration. I think it was just shock. But using champions in general that just have shock can be really helpful for this. For me, I liked putting in a Stark Spidey. It's a very tight time frame to build up with 20 seconds for an L2 in order to smash it in. But still, you know, if you can take him down in a very short space of time, I'd probably say rather than, like, you know, fully heal up for 20 seconds, then look to kind of put the full might of your damage from your specials in. But there's other champions that do shock very easily in Incinerate. You know, you've got Domino with the Incinerate Synergy. You've got Hyperion. The list goes on with Incinerate champions. Shock champions, you've got Sentinel very quickly. You've got Nebula. Yeah, you know, there's so many options there for you to use, and I think that is just really it. A lot of the time, just avoid anything that has that have buffs in order to trigger the old spite. But apart from that, you shouldn't really have a problem with this. And generally, even though it says that the defender is more likely to perform the SP2, it's a case that he mainly just throws his SP1. If you can wait around long enough, maybe just champions that do off the back of an L1 or a heavy attack, an Incinerate or Shock would be better, because then you're not having to wait so long, and also you don't want to push that L2. You want to just do the L1 all the time to avoid that, which is a beam attack and it's very easy to avoid. Okay, next up is Annihilus, and this is a very difficult boss. There's a lot of things going on that I don't really like, and I don't like Annihilus at the best of times. So Bubble Shield is frustrating. It means you can't be very defensive against this guy. Aggressive, that doesn't really help as well, like kind of help out that situation. You also got Rage, and obviously, you know, you don't want to hit massive amounts of damage. So what counters are there for this situation? I feel you could use something that maybe was staggered, class advantage, Juggernaut. Maybe it's a case of doing Quake and Bake and keeping your distance. Maybe, and as well there could be an option with Morningstar, kind of build up and kind of go up and around where we've got, like, you know, plenty to build up and get to the end boss there. It's 5. Also, don't know, like, is this the first time I've seen these ships here? I don't know. I don't get it. This is the first time I've kind of really looked and kind of gone, is this new? But in any case, yeah, back to what to do with Annihilus. Not 100% sure, but there's definitely options here. Like I said, Quake, keep your distance. You could try and do something with Archangel. Omega Red sounds like a good vibe with this, as you can really kind of get up close and personal. Yeah, there's a few options for this, but I don't think there's anything. You could even try nullifying stuff, especially with that Unstoppable. I'm pretty certain you can. Maybe not nullify it, but maybe stagger it and do something with there. I don't know if Hood would be a good option. Anyway, that's just my thoughts there. Now, I'm sure, like I said, with all of these types of videos, boss battles, put in a comment section who you would use for whatever given fight or what you've used, and it's worked. Because not everybody has every single champion, and you might know something that someone else doesn't. Next up is a Symbiote Supreme fight, and I'm not really sure about using a certain character. I'm thinking about Bishop. I didn't use this last time, but the more I think about it, the idea of the EMP modification is something I kind of would like to test out at some point, but haven't really. It's been too easy just to rely on certain characters. Like Stark Spidey, again, is another option that I've been using quite a bit for this quest. Just keep him a distance, not getting too much involved with the fight, building up 10 poisons, smashing in a huge amount of damage. You know, the same kind of principle that we all know with most other champions. But as well, like, destructive feedback is a bit frustrating, but I think it just comes to a point of, like, look where the destructive feedback, as soon as the buff is on, it says that at the start of the fight, the defender gains kinetic shield, preventing from taking damage for 10 seconds. While the shield is active, all damage dealt by the attacker, excluding damage from SP3 attacks, is stored. When the shield expires, the defender takes all stored damage. However, if the defender makes contact with the attacker, the damage is reflected on to them instead. When the shield expires, there's a 15-second cooldown before it activates again. So it's just pick and choosing your time wisely. I'll probably run the VT over the top of this of making the mistake and taking a load of damage, and non-doing the mistake, and when things actually work out. So there's a point in time to hit and a point in time not to hit. So just make sure that you're just hitting in at the right time for that destructive feedback to work correctly. It's bleed immune, so I was thinking about using Blade for this, but you know, you can use Blade, you know, you can use most champions for it. You just got to pick and choose your times wisely. And also you've got to do it fast before the extensive amount of power gain seems to occur with Symbiote Supreme. Okay, for me, first and foremost, this one, not a cheesy fight, but this was more of a lazy fight, and that was the one with the Red Skull, because I wanted to make sure that, well, I wasn't taking any damage from the Sixth Sense. Sixth Sense is annoying. It really is annoying. So the defender has a 50% chance to auto-block all medium and light attacks. So how do you overcome this? What's the best thing? Just parry and hit whilst he's in the stun. I would recommend, if you've got mastery points to increase your stun, I think it's Stupefy, then put some more points in for this particular fight. It's up to you whether or not you want to do that, or choose champions that are easy to stun opponents, and you could look to champions like Hulk. I don't know with the extent of armor buffs. Could you use Ronan for this and then just kind of hammer on through after? Yeah, you wouldn't do a huge amount of damage, but still, if you want to create a consistent stun, this could be a good option. It's not the most difficult fight, it's just frustrating, especially considering those armor buffs are going to be annoying at the start of the fight, and especially coupled in with trying to think about staying in your parries constantly. So I would just recommend that. Maybe choose a champion that armor breaks. That's helpful as well. But maybe something that interacts with them. Maybe like a nullifying. Well, I say nullifying, but as you can see, Mystic Ward is a bit frustrating with that. However, maybe a champion like Morningstar that interacts with those buffs a little bit more. So yeah, pick and choose wisely. Those are the options that I chose, or ones I was thinking of to go against this particular champion. And the one that I did use, I think, was Medusa for a while, but I was just getting a little bit unsure about the kind of fight, and maybe it's best to use a champion that does all those interactions with those buff effects, as I said. Okay, moving on to Mr. Fantastic, and something that I made a mistake about, and that was thinking that the Power Sting debuff was going to be exactly the same as Yellow Jacket, because I wasn't receiving any stun off the back of it, and that's what I was thinking. Oh, I'm going to receive a stun off the back of this. I liked using Iceman for this. I just found that it was a little bit cooler. Sorry, terrible pun intended. But you've really got to analyze and look into what this champion does, and I think replicating special attacks, like going from just doing that constant spam of the L1, may be my downfall. Also, looking out for the evade. You need to kind of be careful, because the enemy is going to evade away from you, and it's going to be a little bit annoying at times. And I think champions that interact well with evades could be quite helpful in this scenario. Also, champions that reduce down ability accuracy, like your Dominos, your Archangels. Champions that get quite close and you can do damage, like a Mega Red. Also, those champions don't really require huge amounts of power gaining, especially if you think about Domino with the Incinerate synergy. And as well, like, well, it's not great to build power for this, and it's kind of like you look like you're being stung. Well, you are being stung for gaining power, so maybe look into different options that are going to be beneficial for this kind of situation. It's up to you, whoever you use on this situation, but the evade is annoying, so I don't know if True Strike would be a good option to play about with when facing off against the evades in this particular scenario. Put in the comment section who you used against Mr. Fantastic. As I said, there's a few options I've kind of like suggest and I would use. And yeah, what are your thoughts? Put them in the comment section. Moving now on to Doctor Doom, and this is where I made some big mistakes. Basically, I forgot to fully read the abilities, and as well remembering something that whilst the aura of Hazarath is up, it does mean that if you do something with your Domino, with your Blade, with any other champion that is very much dependent on doing heavy attacks in order to maximize some sort of abilities, then there will be that level of resistance. So it'll come up with resist, and then even if you're somewhere through like a level 2, that you're going to find that whilst the last hit goes in, that Doctor Doom resists from it. So some of the footage I'll play over the top of this video, or this recording, is that you can see where I'm throwing in those what I'd hope to be massive L2s and massive heavy attacks with doing the Incinerate. I'm actually being resisted, but I'm only being resisted once the aura of Hazarath is up. So I think the principle and how to really punish Doctor Doom is by watching out for when the aura of Hazarath is up. When it's up, do not hit in with a special attack or a heavy attack. And when it's down, use that as a good opportunity to hit it through. But do bear in mind, if it does pop up during, you take a risk of that actually, frustrating you. So you could use an L3 or special attack in this confined, but it's largely up to you how you play against this boss. There's a few suggestions for this. You could use a Mega Red. You could use a whole plethora of different champions. I don't really condone using stuff with ability accuracy modifications because there is something on the node. But look, let's be honest, you can just plow through with extensive amounts of damage using your Archangels and Mega Reds and anything that's going to maximize damage in a very short space of time. I'm not sure if I would recommend Namor for this, but there are a few huge damage dealers that you could opt with. Put in the comments section who to use. I would see like a load of people using Nick Furies, but do bear in mind, you know, I don't like using champions that have got buffs for this situation, just in case you get hit. And the main thing to really remember is avoiding those special attacks. If you can, try and avoid the SP1. And yeah, that's like a very kind of like, he thrusts forward, so you swipe back and then goes into a beam attack. As soon as you see the beam, swipe away. I first of all didn't evade well, and once I saw them a few more times, I was able to really kind of learn my lessons of mistakes. Also, I was a little bit annoyed, and I don't know if there's something going wrong with the Kabam servers at the moment, because I've had one instance with using Iceman, which you've seen, but I've tried swiping back. I know you can't see my fingers and my hands and how I'm moving, but I tried swiping that back and I stood still. And also when I was playing Stark Spidey, where he was doing some combos, he was trying to build the combos up after building the 10 poises, and went into a heavy attack. And I was there like, what the hell was that? Throwing me into a heavy attack like that. I didn't click it, I just went into it. I know this has happened to a lot of people before, so it really needs to be looked into if this is going to be some kind of communication issue. Or maybe, as I always say about getting a new device, so maybe this kind of like forces the hand a little bit. Yeah, in any case, that has been the video, and put in the comment section who you used against Dr. Doom as well as Mr. Sinister. Maybe you got a better method. Help out a fellow person in the community by putting it down in the comment section who you used, and people may go, hey, that may be a better idea, and I'm kind of glad for that tip. So yeah, start the conversation. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye for now.